It started with an anonymous email. Belize Husk, an investigative journalist with the Washington Gazette, was used to dead ends. Tips about shadowy cabals or secret experiments flooded her inbox regularly. Most were nonsense, but this one was different. Dr. Richard Langley isn't who he says he is. The hospital is a front. Dig deeper, before more people disappear. Attached was a spreadsheet. Names of patients transferred out of Jefferson Medical Center, a high-profile hospital favored by diplomats and top-tier politicians. Belize's stomach tightened. She ran a few names. No obituaries. No transfer records to other hospitals. Just gone. Jefferson had a spotless reputation. Dr. Langley was their crown jewel, a transplant surgeon with a near-mythical success rate, lauded in medical journals and at galas alike. But Belize had learned long ago, the shinier the surface, the more likely there was something underneath. Her first stop was the hospital, posing as a cousin of a missing patient. The receptionist, barely out of college, hesitated when Belize asked about her relative. I'm not sure I can disclose. Belize dropped her voice. I'm not here to sue anyone. I just need to know if he's okay. The woman looked around, visibly rattled. I don't know what happens after they're transferred. Nobody tells us, but something's wrong. People leave and never come back. Before Belize could press, a voice cut in. Is there a problem here? Dr. Langley stood tall in a white coat, piercing eyes fixed on Belize. Calm, but with an edge. Belize smiled, feigning naivete. Just looking for my cousin. They said he was transferred. Langley interrupted. Transfers are handled through private networks for privacy. I suggest you direct questions to administration. He walked away without waiting for a reply. She could feel the heat of his scrutiny long after he left. Belize wasn't going to crack Jefferson from the front. She needed help. She reached out to a contact from a past investigation, John Matthews, a former nurse who'd abruptly resigned from Jefferson 2 years ago. They met in the back booth of a diner outside the Beltway. John looked older than his 38 years, with dark bags under his eyes. I kept my mouth shut for too long, he said, voice shaking. I thought leaving would be enough. But it never leaves you. He slid over a flash drive. Langley's running an unregistered transplant ring. The donors, they're not volunteers. They're targets. Targets? Belize asked. Immigrants. The homeless. People off the grid. If someone with money needs a liver and you match the profile, you go in for stomach pain and never leave. The drive contained patient logs, photos of extracted organs, and records labeled Special Inventory. One folder held surveillance stills. Langley entering a private jet, medical coolers in tow. John looked away. I knew a girl, Naomi. She was a nurse like me. She found out too much. Next thing we knew, they said she died in a car crash. But I saw the photos. Her chest was caved in, surgical, not an accident. Belize felt a chill crawl up her spine. To verify the claims, Belize started looking into the logistics. A private medevac company based out of Virginia had irregular flight plans, red eyes with no patients, destinations with no hospitals. Through a fake tip, she met with Alan Kessler, a pilot who occasionally flew for special assignments. Off the record, Belize promised, voice low. You ever fly for Jefferson? Kessler leaned back. I know who you are. Journalist, right? Heard you took down that pharmaceutical executive, so I'll tell you what I can. He confirmed the flights, described being paid in cash, and flying coolers labeled for international transplant exchange programs. But a week later, Alan Kessler was found dead, overdose. But Belize had seen the man. He didn't look like an addict. To dig deeper, Belize found another way in. Claire Nguyen, a young intern from the hospital, who followed her on social media and messaged her offering to help. Claire provided Belize with internal memos, including one where Senator James Holloway was scheduled for a private visit and dinner with Dr. Langley. That name stopped Belize cold. Holloway was a media darling, center of healthcare reform, always front and center in transplant access pressers. He visited the hospital twice last month, Claire said. No press, always after hours. But something about Claire's eagerness gnawed at Belize. Belize passed her findings to her FBI contact, Agent Marcus Reed. He'd burned her once by sitting on a story, but this time he seemed rattled. We've been watching Langley, he admitted. He's been on our radar for 3 years, but the chain of evidence is always broken. Witnesses recant, whistleblowers disappear. Now Holloway? That's new. Belize showed him the flash drive. This is real. But we'll lose it if we move too fast. Marcus frowned. We need Langley caught in the act. That's the only way it sticks. Claire messaged police later that week, breathless. They're moving something big tonight. Warehouse in Rockville. Langley's overseeing it himself. Marcus hesitated. If this is a setup? We're out of time, police snapped. They're killing people. They prepped a SWAT team, but the red tape was thick. No warrant without confirmation. The FBI hesitated, so police made a call to a contact in the press and leaked the address. When they arrived, the warehouse looked empty. Too quiet. Police moved with a camera and mic hidden in her jacket. Inside, she saw coolers, surgical kits, and one man in scrubs checking off a manifest. Then Langley stepped into the light. This is a private facility, he said, cool and composed. Police raised her voice. You're trafficking human organs. Langley didn't flinch. I'm saving lives, ones that matter. What's one undocumented man for the life of a senator's daughter? Police felt bile rise in her throat. Suddenly, gunshots rang out. One of the guards fired into the air. Chaos erupted. SWAT moved in late, but not too late. Langley tried to escape but was taken down hard. In the scuffle, police spotted Claire, cowering behind a crate, but then she saw something that made her freeze. Claire pulling out a burner phone and sending a message. She took the bait. Langley's down. She wasn't a whistleblower. She was the cleanup crew. The bust made headlines nationwide. Organ trafficking, elite hospital staff, political names. Langley was arraigned under tight security. In court, he smiled at police. You're too late. I was just a node. They'll replace me. They already have. When asked why he did it, Langley didn't blink. Because someone has to play God. Better organs go to the people shaping the world than rotting with the forgotten. Police watched as Holloway denied all involvement. But the financial records from the warehouse, offshore accounts, donations, untraceable wires, all led to him. He resigned, disgraced, days later. In a follow-up interview, police finally asked John why he helped. He pulled out a crumpled photo. A girl, maybe 6, hooked up to machines. My daughter. Kidney failure. Langley said he could help if I kept quiet. I stayed silent too long. Naomi died trying to stop it. I'm done staying quiet. Police nodded. I'm not done either. Weeks later, an encrypted email hit her inbox. Langley was local. The real power sits abroad. You've poked a dragon's tail. Attached was a photo. A private clinic in Singapore. Same logo as one found on Langley's medical coolers. Beneath it, a message. Welcome to part 2. Police stared at the screen, fingers trembling. Not from fear, but adrenaline. This wasn't just corruption. It was infrastructure. She opened a new file.